Hello and welcome to Tête à Tête, France 24's flagship interview show. Our guest today is the President of Liberia, Joseph Boakai. Thank you very much, Mr. President, for being our guest.
Thanks for inviting me.
Liberia has often been associated with civil war, poverty, and lack of democracy. You were elected. What is your main priority? Is it peace? Is it democracy? Is it bringing foreign investment to Liberia? Or all of the above?
I'm glad you added that. It's all of the above. But I believe for a country that had gone through conflicts, the first and foremost, I believe, was to bring about peace and reconciliation. And then also get the people to understand that we have a nation that we need to build. And so after the peace and reconciliation, we should move to the next area where we change our habits that have become a problem to development, such as corruption, such as maybe the idea of maybe laziness or the don't care attitude about a nation, become patriotic. And that's why we've been working with trying to remold minds of the people toward development, toward moving themselves from where they are to a better life, which is available that we can do, provided we are determined to do so, and I think we can do it.
You spoke about peace, you spoke about reconciliation, you didn't mention justice. We know that there are many calling for justice, including for warlords who have not been brought to justice. Does it mean that to have reconciliation, you need to forget justice?
There cannot be peace without justice. And I think we have demonstrated that when we signed the executive order against war crimes and economic crime, saying to the Liberian people that impunity cannot build a country. And this is what we demonstrated, in addition to making them at the same time know that you cannot live in a country where people are carrying grief without reconciling them.
I want to talk about the impact of major U.S. and Western aid cuts. Your country is still a fragile country. It needed development aid. This is not going to happen because of Donald Trump, but also because of Western governments in Europe, especially cutting development aid. How much of an impact is it having on Liberia?
The impact is enormous, but again, we have to understand, and that is a major lesson for us to know that the best planning is for yourself, that you don't depend on people indefinitely. It's unfortunate, but I always expect that the best way to plan is to plan for yourself. So Liberians are learning, and they're building the resilience to be able to move on without these. We cannot do it completely in a day, but I think we are transitioning to understanding that it is about time that we move. We have the resources, we have the manpower, we have the knowledge. So it's to teach us to begin to build on our own.
Right, but if you add to this the wars in Ukraine and especially now in the Gulf region, this is having a major impact on the daily lives of Africans in general and Liberians, obviously.
But the country must continue. We are a country. Irrespective of what happened elsewhere, we are part of the global community, but we also have a country, we have a responsibility. That doesn't stop us from making sure that we find ways in which we can use our resources well. We can begin to discipline ourselves in a way that we know that our survival depends on ourselves first and other communities. But our community should not be first. We should be first to take care of ourselves.
Right, but how do you take care of yourselves without major developments? What are you thinking?
We are not doing it without. We are doing it along with those. There are still countries of goodwill who have been working with us. They've been working with us. We know that we have shortfalls in areas in which have been dependent on other people. But again, that's a good lesson for us to know that help is help, but you have to depend on yourself.
Right. I mentioned President Donald Trump. Everyone remembers your visit to the Oval Office, where he was surprised that you spoke such a good English. But this aside, the U.S. has asked several African countries to accept illegal immigrants that were thrown out of the United States. Do you agree with this? Is Liberia going to do this? Has it been asked to do this?
Well, the U.S. is still our friend, to be very frank. Yes, they have taken actions for themselves, but we have not completely, without their friendship. I mean, we have to understand that countries have responsibility to themselves, primarily. But because we are all humans and we all need each other, we still relate to the U.S. The people who are in the U.S., they went there for various reasons. And some of those who went there, who took the right steps, they are still being processed. But the U.S. is still our friend.
So you are accepting them?
We still work with them.
Yes, but those...
In a way, I mean, according to, they are amending their own way of life. We also are amending our way of life to be able to relate to them, but also understand that we have to move on our own in different areas.
Right.
We have other friends also.
Right. I want to talk about democracy in the region. Obviously, in Liberia, there was a transition between George Weah and you. But in many other countries, first of all, there are no transitions, and in some others, there are coups. I mean, we've seen it in the Sahel. How worried are you about the state of democracy in West Africa?
I think Liberia has enough experience. Liberia has had a lot of problems in trying to become a country, and we have learned that. We have learned that war is not the way to go. We have also learned to live with our neighbors. And we are doing everything possible to show them that we are experienced enough in conflict and we are avoiding conflict. And we know that we can do it by working with them as good neighbors, working with them as people who know that we have interdependence, even as neighbors, in smaller ways, because the people in the region all belong to almost the same families.
Right, but ECOWAS is not a family anymore. 3 countries have been expelled because of the coups. Is it still relevant? That's my question.
Not quite so. ECOWAS is Africans. They have made a decision, but we believe that there might be second thoughts to think about the decision they have made, and we cannot throw them out because, remember, most of these countries are countries that have no access to
the sea.
Yeah. So there's no way they can live independent of countries that have access that they can make use of. So we work with them. We try to make them understand that we are still available as friends.
So they should come back to ECOWAS.
Well, it's a decision they have to make, but we have to encourage them by the way in which also we treat our people, because whatever made them to decide otherwise, we have to show them that we all can live together. We can help to teach our people. Some of the reasons that people left, the leadership attributed to those things. If you treat the people the way they should be lead a country by example, try to provide for your people. You can demonstrate a way that will encourage other people to come to work with you.
You've mentioned the need to have good neighborly relations.
Yes.
There's one neighbor with which you have some tense relations, Guinea. There have been some border issues for years. They came up again on the agenda. What is your message to the president of Guinea and the presidents of the region about those tensions today?
Fortunately, the president of Guinea and myself have been sharing sit-stand this morning, and we've been speaking very well. In fact, the first question he asked me, how is the border situation? And I told him things are getting under control. I think the president of Guinea is beginning to know that we are good neighbors, we are family people, and I think his thinking is changing.
So the worst is behind us.
I would believe so, but we have to work at it because tensions don't just disappear in a day. But we are doing everything to show him that we are good neighbors. We've been working together for years, and we can continue to do that.
So you trust Mamady Doumbouya?
Mamady Doumbouya and I talked today, and I called him my nephew, and I said, today I'll be seeing him. And he said, the doors are open.
Joseph Boakai, I want to thank you very much for being our guest
Thank
here
you again,
on France 24.
very much so.
And thank you for watching this edition of Tête à Tête on France 24.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Welcome.